Hey, what is up, everyone? Today I'm going to talk to you guys why I think renting is greater than owning in this economy and how I think it's helped set me up financially much more than a lot of people I know that have bought. I think in this economy, renting is greater than owning because obviously interest rates, but also because everything is priced way too high right now. Now, I'm not saying everything we should rent. I'm saying if there is something that you think is way overpriced, don't just buy it because then you're playing into that game, right? So for example, right now, I'll be transparent about my situation. I live in a very nice neighborhood. I have a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom apartment, and I'm paying about 2,100 per month. Now, I know that this is rent that's going out the door that I'm not seeing again. But if I were to have bought one of this exact same place I'm in now, it's between 3,400 and 3,600 a month. And I would have had to put 20% down. So think about that for a second. I would have lost that 20%, which probably would have been about 80 to 100K at least. And I would be paying 1,300 a month more. How dumb would that have been? And you can be like, well, Paul, you're building equity. Okay, that's true. I'm building a little bit of equity. But 70-80% is going to interest. It's going to the bankers, right? So think about that. Why would I ever buy when I can rent for this cheap and I can invest the difference? 3,400 minus 2,100, I could take that 1,300 and put it into an index fund, Bitcoin, gold, silver, whatever, you name the asset, right? And then I can build my own equity outside of real estate. I think, that's the thing is you have to keep investing. I can't be spending that extra 1,300 on fancy things. No, I still need to be building my own equity. But the problem is homes are so overvalued right now. They're bid up so high because of all the institutional investors, the corporate owners that just bought up all the properties, and they're coming out very far ahead. I genuinely think it's this delta you got to capture, but I think it's going to be really hard to buy unless we see a true hard money standard come. I mean, everyone I know, they finance everything. Everything. And you're not actually buying a house. You're essentially renting it from the bank. You're essentially paying down a loan. You don't own the house until the last payment's made, right? So I think there are things we should buy outright. Personally, these are my opinions. This is what I do. It's done well for me, but I'm not saying you shouldn't lease if there's not the right if there's a good opportunity to lease, do it. So most things I think we should buy outright is like a car, any electronic device, anything that goes in the house. Any experience should be owned and never financed. Anything small, in my opinion, should just be bought cash. Same thing with cars. I genuinely think you should pay cash for your car. If you can't afford to pay cash, you can't afford it. Now, that may sound old school, but do you know how good it feels to not have to see $500 to $1,000 go out the door every single month? I can afford a nicer place too because I have less money going out to my different debts, right? So, there's the law of trade-offs, right? Safety, right? You want a safe car, right? You want the newest technology. You want maybe the self-driving because it could take you places. But I genuinely think that the time we're in now, it makes sense to buy the little things and the medium-sized things. As for housing, depending on where you are, it might be a good deal. Here, at least in North Scottsdale, the minimum place that house is probably $750K. And if you want something that's okay, even a little bit better, it's almost $1 million. So, that's kind of where I'm at. And it's like, well, Paul, move to Glendale. Well, guess what? I don't want to move to Glendale. Move to Mesa. Well, guess what? I don't want to move to Mesa, right? So this is just the price I'm willing to pay to live in a nice area, right? We all have those compromises in life. Life is a series of compromises. This is just the compromise I'm making. I think everyone needs to weigh your compromise as well. So, I think homes, they're propped up way too high due to institutional investment and people treating their homes as money because the money's broken, right? When the money's broken, people treat their homes like money. They buy it. You should see the amount of units where I live that are just fully vacant, fully empty. Nobody lives in them. Nobody. There's literally the unit below me. Same unit as mine. Same exact. There hasn't been a single person that has lived in there. And we've been here for like 7 months now. It's just empty. It's just vacant. It's just in someone's portfolio, right? You go down these rich subdivisions too, and you see 90% of the homes vacant. It's literally just in someone's portfolio. They're not actually going to use the house. That's an asset for them. That's an investment for them. That's where they're parking their money to avoid inflation, right? So that's just something to think about. So rent is never always better rent isn't always better than owning. It just depends on your situation, the area you're in, how much down payment you have, and what horse you think is the fastest. And as many of you guys know, we never really do own our homes. We never do. That's my other case against owning a house is like, do you actually ever own it? No. You're always paying taxes. You're always paying fees. You're always paying HOAs. There's huge commissions on both sides. All the utilities and all that as well. But there's a lot. So don't go into buying a house because everyone else is. You can't just go into buying a house because everyone else is. You have to end up doing the right thing for your situation. And for me, I don't like the rules, and I get it. Owning a house, it gives you that illusion or perspective that you're having more freedom. But is an HOA really any freedom? Think about that. Is an HOA really freedom? And yes, there are homes without HOAs, but those tend to have more elevated prices. Many people that own their own home, they maybe can't travel as much. Or maybe they can't put money to certain activities they value, like travel. Maybe they like boating. Maybe they don't want to be 9 to 5 the rest of their lives, right? So I think people that own their home, they need to think about that. Like, hey, when will you actually make the last payment, right? Is it 30 years from now? Because that's really sad if you're going to be paying 4 or 5, 6, 7, 10 grand a month just to have 4 walls in the window, right? So I think after tax, you need to keep it between 15 to 20% of your income tops. The bankers and everyone says 30 to 40%, but they're just doing that to stretch you out. You do not want to be house poor, guys. You do not want to be house poor. And don't follow what everyone else does, or you'll become like everyone else. So you really need to think about that. If you follow what everyone else is doing, you're not going to be left with a lot. You're going to be left with the scraps. So anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this one. I think rent is greater than owning in this economy for my situation. Assess for you. If you were to buy a house right now in your area, have you run the numbers? Have you looked at the amortization tables? Have you looked at the rents? Have you weighed how much you can invest and the opportunity cost of that? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. But I think always look at your situation. No one's situation is the same. And do what you can to get ahead because this world is getting competitive fast. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.